Technology and Sleep, the Blue Light Effect, created by Francesca Levine. Within the last few years, studies have found that media devices could be affecting people's sleep. In today's world, technology is highly circulated, and almost everyone has some form of device that emits blue light waves, whether it be a smartphone, tablet, computer, and even television. This video will go into depth about the blue light effect and how it could be affecting masses of people whether they know it or not. First, we will start with the seed article. This article is called How Devices and Even Light Are Killing Your Sleep, written by Richard Shane and published on the website called the Huffington Post. This article examines the issues of media and devices and how it affects your sleep. Shane begins his article by explaining how before today's current technological advancement, individuals had a different sleeping pattern called segmented sleep. Segmented sleep is when there is a first sleep, then a period of wakefulness, followed by a morning sleep. According to Shane, sleeping patterns have evolved to match the busy lives of individuals today. Because of how demanding people's lives are, instead of segmenting sleep, individuals try to get 8 hours of sleep at once. In the second half of the article, Shane discusses how media devices such as television, smartphones, and computers are damaging to our sleep due to the artificial light they emit. Shane quotes, "When we are exposed to artificial light, we are activating our arousing neurons, making us more awake and often anxious." To conclude his article, Shane gives 3 tips to ensure individuals can get better sleep. These 3 tips are assign, replace, and remove. At the end of this video, there will be more details about these tips. Background on sleep and light. According to the website, National Institute of General Medical Sciences, every human has a function in their body called the circadian rhythm. This is a 24-hour cycle that bodies have that regulate various things, but most significantly the sleep and wake cycle. Individuals are very sensitive to light, and the amount of exposure to light is what supports the circadian rhythm. During class discussions, we learned about the transduction of light and the pathway it takes in the brain. From the text Physiology of Behavior, the author Neil Carlson elaborates about specialized photoreceptors in the optic nerve. These photoreceptors provide information about different levels of light presented. Subsequently, that information is relayed to the suprachiasmatic nuclei, also known as the SCN. The SCN is in the hypothalamus and its function is to regulate the circadian rhythm. According to the Harvard Health Publications website, the exposure to blue light from the screens on media devices activates the SCN, which causes it to suppress the hormone melatonin. Melatonin is a hormone that helps induce sleep, and exposure to blue light suppresses it, and the absence of the blue light enables its secretion. Another study conducted by George C. Renard and John P. Haithman et al. Found results that polychromatic light with short-wave enrichment, also known as blue light, is the most potent type of light to suppress melatonin levels. There have been plenty of studies that support evidence of the blue light effect. One article called Effects of Television Luminance and Wavelengths at Habitual Bedtimes on Melatonin and Cortisol Secretions in Humans by Yoko Komodo and Kazuki Aoki et al. Conducted a study on 13 male participants that were exposed to 4 different displays of luminance and wavelengths controlled on televisions. The televisions were either at a high or low luminance, and they had a normal blue light or a half blue light. Half the participants saw normal luminance display with normal and half blue light conditions, and the other half of the participants saw high luminance display with normal and half blue light conditions. The participants' cortisol and melatonin levels were measured before and after exposure to the televisions during the time they would normally go to sleep. The results of the study show that there was a significant main effect of wavelength on melatonin levels. The least significant differences post hoc analysis revealed that there was an increase in melatonin secretion following half blue light exposure was larger than that recorded following normal blue light exposure. The study did not find any significance with cortisol and blue light, and no significance with the cortisol and luminance. The study from Kamada Aoki et al. Shows evidence that the more blue light an individual is exposed to, the more likely the secretion of melatonin will be suppressed, thus making sleep more difficult to obtain and potential disruption to the circadian rhythm. Another study that supports the blue light effect is by Ingram Fossum, Lynn T. Nordens et al. The study is called The Association Between Use of Electronic Media in Bed Before Going to Sleep and Insomnia Symptoms, Daytime Sleepiness, Morningness, and Chronotype, and it was conducted to measure how different forms of electronic media were associated to various forms of sleep disorders in adults. The study talks about the 3 factors in sleep: a homeostatic factor, a circadian factor, and a behavioral factor. The study highlights that the behavior factor can be a direct effect on the homeostatic and circadian factor. These behaviors would be exposing ourselves to blue light and increasing arousal before we sleep. The study included 532 students between the ages of 19 and 39. They were given an anonymous self-report questionnaire that assessed the amount of electronic media they were exposed to. This included the frequency, duration, and type of electronic devices used before going to sleep. The results of the study found that the use of computers to watch television, movies, and TV series in bed, and the use of phones to play, surf, and text in bed had positive relations to insomnia. They also found that the use of phones before bed was associated with a late chronotype, and people that watch television or use their phones before bed also scored lowering on the morning as compared to individuals that didn't use media devices as often. In this study, there were no significant findings on the other forms of media and their effect on sleep. This study, along with the one before, supports that media devices that have artificial lighting has significant consequences on sleeping behavior. As the last article shows how blue light may affect young adults, the next article demonstrates the effect of blue light on young children. The study, Just 5 More Minutes Please, Electronic Media Use, Sleep, and Behavior in Young Children, by Daniel Seguin and Victoria Klimek, was conducted in order to find significant correlations between electronic use and children's sleep and behavior. Data was obtained from 52 children of local preschools and daycares in eastern Canada, and they were given questionnaires. These questionnaires included the Children's Sleep Habit Questionnaire, questions on electronic media use, and the Preschool Behavior Questionnaire. The results of the study found that there were significant positive correlations on electronic media use and sleep patterns in young children. The first correlation is positive correlations with the amount of TV in the home and sleepiness when they are alone. This can be concluded because there are more TVs, it is more likely that the child will be inactive, and less activity could lead to poor quality of sleep or even less sleep, which would increase sleepiness altogether. The second correlation is a positive correlation between sleepiness while watching TV and while playing alone, while riding in a car, and during computer use. This suggests that the correlation is because the findings directly of blue light effect. The exposure to blue light causes the suppression of melatonin, and because of the lack of sleep, the child becomes sleepier. The final correlation is the negative correlation between the amount of sleep and computer use, video game use, and use of other electronics. This suggests that the correlation depends on the time the child is allowed to stay up till. If they are allowed to stay up later, they are more likely to get less sleep time. The articles that were presented supported the notion of blue light affecting individuals' sleep, ranging from adults to young children. But could blue light be harming more than our sleep? An interesting article called Blue Light Stress in Retinal Neuronal Cells is Dependent on Wavelength, Range, and Iridescence by Leila Niels and Monica Valtek et al. The focus of that study was to determine if retinal damage occurs to cells when they expose different wavelengths of blue light. The study's results found that high energetic blue light waves actually induced apoptosis in retinal neuronal cells, while lower energetic blue lights would not. Even though this project focuses on the blue light and its effect on sleep, I found it interesting that the exposure to high energetic wavelengths of blue light could cause apoptosis, otherwise known as cell death. Living in today's day and age, technology keeps growing and our bodies and minds are changing with it. Simple everyday tasks such as working on computers, responding to texts and emails, watching our favorite movies and TV shows, are shaping our behaviors whether we know it or not. Maybe before binge watching our favorite TV shows on Netflix, we should take our time and regulate the amount of media and blue light we expose ourselves to. The 3 tips the SEED article provided for us were to assign, give yourself a curfew time limited on devices before you go to bed. Replace, using traditional alarm clocks rather than phone alarms. Remove. We should remove as much artificial light from us as possible in our sleeping environment. Thank you for taking the time to watch and listen to this video. I hope you enjoyed it and gained more knowledge about how media devices could be harmful to your sleep.